Georgia. Please, let's give a round.
How's everybody doing? To all of the elected officials who are here, our commissioners, Commissioner Booker, thank you for your words. To our candidates, Defonzio, Daniels, and others who are here, thank you so much for your service. It's great to be back here in Glenn County, Brunswick, over the last few months. This is my third time here in this area, and it is a wonderful pleasure to be here in this welcoming community. My name is Olu Brown. I'm running for governor of Georgia 2026. I am a small business owner. I'm a community advocate, and I am a person who cares about people. The question that I've been asked is, why are you running? I'm running because it's time for a new face, a new voice, and a new vision, not for most of Georgia, but for all of Georgia. One of the things you will understand about me very quickly is that I care about every region of Georgia. The mountains of Georgia, Metro Georgia, Middle Georgia, South Georgia, Coastal Georgia. Earlier today, I took a 5-hour drive to be with you.
Yes, you did.
And as your next governor, what you can always expect is I will come to you. You won't have to come to the Capitol to see me. I will be a friendly and a familiar face in every county, in every city, in every town throughout Georgia. What are the things that matter to me most? Here they are: affordable and accessible health care, protecting the rights of all women. I have 4 children. One daughter will be 21 next week. The other daughter is 20. They are important to me. But not only are my daughters important to me, their mother, they're important to me. Their grandmothers, they're important to me. All women are important to me. And we must make sure the state of Georgia protects the rights of all women. But not only are the rights of women important, we also must focus on housing equality and housing equity to make sure that even here in Brunswick, as there are individuals who are buying up excessive amounts of property, that they're not pricing you out of the communities that you grew up in. We've got to make sure that throughout all of Georgia, folks can afford to buy a house, to live in a community, work in a community, and shop in the community. These are the things that are important to me. Small business ownership and development, but not just enterprise, but social enterprise. Giving young people an option and an opportunity to be entrepreneurs as teenagers and as young adults. If we do this, we wouldn't be building so many prisons. If we do this, we would see more young people graduating. If we see this change happen, we will see a greater Georgia, not only for our young people, but a greater Georgia for all people. I'm also concerned about our seniors, making sure that they can live on a fixed income, making sure that we protect their Social Security, and making sure, as we heard earlier, they don't have to decide over food versus their prescriptions. These are the things that are important to me as your next governor. So what have I been up to over the last few months? We've been crisscrossing Georgia, having these listening sessions. And Commissioner, we're asking these 3 vital questions. Question number 1, what do you love about Georgia? Question number 2, what are your concerns about Georgia? Question number 3, what would you change about Georgia? And here's some of the feedback that I got from your community and other communities like yours. 1, we need to focus on our seniors. 2, we need to focus on education. 3, we need to focus on housing equality. And 4, we need to focus on affordable and accessible health care throughout all of Georgia, in particular in our smaller and rural towns. I was in Kathleen, Georgia a few months ago, and the person helped me to understand that for her mother to get an x-ray in Kathleen, Georgia, there was only 1 location in the city. That is not right. In particular, with a state with a surplus of more than $16 billion.
Yes.
We have to stop touting our surplus when there are so many people in Georgia who don't have the basic necessities of life. As your next governor, we'll keep a surplus, but we will make sure more of Georgia have the access to that surplus so that they can have the quality quality of life and education and housing and healthcare and employment that all Georgians deserve. It has been my pleasure running for governor over these last few months. And I know we're at the beginning of this journey, and you're going to be seeing and hearing from a lot of people. But my hope is that you will remember my name, Olu Brown, for governor of Georgia. You have the card, and you can see the email and the website, but you can go to oluforga.com. In Metro Georgia, we're going to be hosting this coming weekend our campaign kickoff. And if you can't be with us, you can still watch it live. I need your prayers, I need your support, I need your vote, and we also need your resources, as Patty mentioned just a minute ago, to amplify not only this campaign, but all of the campaigns are so vital and so important for this state. Thank you so much for your time tonight, and I would love to answer any questions that you may have.
I'd like to know, in your first 100, let's fast forward and say you're elected.
Yes.
In your first 100 days in office, what are the two top priorities for you in your first 100 days of office?
So first is healthcare and second is education.
So talk a little bit more specific about
As it relates to healthcare, we're going to bring together all the best minds as it relates to healthcare. And we're going to create a symposium, and we're going to listen to everybody. We're going to find out why there are parts of Georgia that don't have accessible health care. Why recently that same family member from Kathleen, Georgia that I visited had to travel to Macon, Georgia to stay in the hospital. And then shortly after being in Macon, Georgia, they were considering taking her to Metro, Georgia. But that's not fair, that's not right, that's not equal. We gotta make sure that healthcare is affordable and accessible for all. So we're gonna look at Medicare, we're gonna look at Medicaid, we're gonna look at our housing stock related to hospitals, and we're gonna make sure that there's emergency care, that there's long-term hospital care, and we're also gonna make sure that our seniors are protected throughout all of Georgia. So that's the first thing that we're gonna do in the first 100 days. The second is education. I was raised by educators. I am here today because of educators. I have a lifetime teaching certificate for grades 1 through 8. I believe the greatest investment of our state and our country is investing in our kids. So during the school year, as your next governor, each week I will be in a different school and a different school district, not telling teachers what to do, not telling superintendents what to do, but listening, hearing, and understanding what they need. Because I believe we should provide the very best for every student in Georgia, regardless of their zip code. And I believe that teachers in the state of Georgia should be the highest paid in the country. So those are the top two first 100 days. Yes.
How would you address, I know you have to go through the legislature, but how would you address the heart issue and this law that puts women at risk for having something that happens to their bodies that they have nothing to do when they have a miscarriage?
Yes.
You don't have control over that.
Yeah.
And so what are you going to do, because it's a trap?
Well, one of the first things we got to do over these next few years is elect new officials at our state level. Officials like DeFonzio, and send them to the Capitol so that they can influence legislation and protect the rights of women. In particular, as it relates to the heartbeat bill and restricting women from having an abortion, even in case of incest or rape, or their life may be challenged, is unfair and it's unjust. And I think those laws are reflections of those who are passing them, which are the majority men. And it's not right. And so we've got to have more equal representation in our state legislature that helps women feel protected, helps women feel heard, and to make sure that we give allowances that allow women to save their own lives. So that's how I would address it. Yes?
How do you plan to work with Chino Manino?
I said it again. I'm sorry, ask it again.
How do you plan to
understand the question. Go ahead.
Did you hear this question? How do you plan on working with Cheeto Benito? Now, who is Cheeto Benito? Your question.
Yeah, that's what I'm, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Come on, think about it.
How do you plan to work with him?
Cheeto Benito.
Donald Trump.
Huh?
Donald Trump.
Oh, Donald Trump. I know people have these nicknames for a lot of our elected officials. The first is, and I've always done this throughout my life, I've respected the office of the presidency, regardless of who is the president of the United States of America. Do we have great disagreements? Yes. Do we have different philosophies? Yes. But I believe in our democracy that the office of the president is to be respected. So what does that mean for your next governor? It means, one, I respect whoever is in that office, and that I will find a way to work with whoever is in the office, which happens to be Donald Trump. But I will also be a voice that challenges power and pushes back. I think the issue that we have with our governor, Governor Kemp, and there are many people who like Governor Kemp, but one of the challenges with Governor Kemp is he's not willing to push back. I was reading a recent AJC article that said Governor Kemp and the president met to determine who should run for U.S. Senate. So what Georgians need to understand is if Donald Trump is president in Georgia for the Republican Party, they're not voting on their candidate. Donald Trump is picking their candidate.
Exactly.
And I don't think that's right. And you need to have a governor who is strong enough to tell Washington, Georgia picks Georgians, not the president, whether they're Democrat or whether they're Republican. So we will work together on the areas that we need to, but just as your next governor, I'll also push back. And that's not what we're seeing, unfortunately, in our state.
I just know that a lot of people feel that way. And they say the proper thing, respect the office.
Yes.
So forth and so on. And then we just see dirt on the other side that don't respect anything, not just the office, anything. And I ran for office before. And that's serious business. It's just serious business. And it's serious business on how you're treated, how you market, how you make your presentation, and how you go after it. And people want to see, not just a fight, but somebody in a